in the process of fasting, which we're using to put our diabetes in remission, we get to those last hours. Yeah. We're in 72 hours right now, right? We're in a 72-hour fast, and we're getting to those final hours. Right now, I'm actually 71 hours plus. And as you get to those final hours, the mind starts to play tricks on you, right? It starts to tell you, oh, yeah, I want such and such, or I want to do this. And, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and let's just break the fast. And the question we want to ask is, how do we get through that fast? How do we get through those final hours of fasting? This tool that we're using. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you, we're using fasting as a method of reversing our diabetes. We're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, get off of medications, and who want to put their diabetes in remission. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited and happy that you are here with us. If you do have questions as we move throughout the evening, go ahead and put those in the chat. Put a Q in front of them so that we know that those are questions that we need to get to as we move into our discussion tonight. Just a little bit of backdrop. So here I am in the process of fasting. I do a 72-hour fast once a week. Sometimes we do a little bit more. But it's one of those tools that I've been using, teaching, in order to be able to get the benefits of insulin improvement, that is, decreasing our insulin resistance, of being able to lower our blood sugars, lower our cravings, lower our weight, and ultimately to put our diabetes in remission. And we've been going through this process, and here we are at a check-in. We are little over 71 hours, and we'll talk a little bit on Fridays. We usually do a review of fasting, and today I want to talk specifically about how do we get through those final last hours, that push. And it doesn't matter whether you are doing intermittent fasting with shorter fasts or you're doing longer fasts, the challenges are the same. And you know how we do. I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at to see what my blood sugars are. I've got my report that's right down below. That's my Dexcom Clarity, and we'll go through that here in just a little while. But I do see one of our community members out there. I want to just hop over and say hello. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming through. And for those of you who may be on other platforms, wherever you are, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube, we welcome you, and we are glad that you are hanging out with us. If you see somebody, or if you don't see somebody that should be here, go ahead and let them know that we are in the saddle and we are moving, so they can come over and join us. Before we get into our discussion, I want to do, like we always do, our check-in for today, because there are 3 areas that we want to talk about. And they are how we're doing physically, mentally, and emotionally, because these are the places where people tend to have issues, because those really that's the crux of fasting. Most people think fasting is just a physical thing, but no, it's physical, mental, and emotional. And it's more than just avoiding food. There's a lot that goes into it, as we'll talk about here in just a little while. But checking in, physically, I am feeling a little tired, more so than I have in the past. And as I mentioned to you before, I came into this week and there was a lot that was going on, so I didn't do a good job of resting, which we'll talk about in a little while. And so a little fatigued, but I'm not feeling drained. I'm not feeling low energy. This morning when I woke up, I was a little bit more tired than I normally am, and so that was a little challenging for me to get the morning going, but finally got up, got into the morning, and actually did a lot today in terms of getting things done. So physically. Mentally, because I was tired, right? So mentally, a little bit more fatigue as well as I went through the week, but I'm not feeling sluggish. I'm not feeling as though I'm grasping for my thought process for my words. That's something sometimes people will talk about. And actually, stepping back for a minute, back to the physical, one of the or some of the symptoms that people will talk about there is how they're feeling in terms of having lightheadedness, dizziness, sweatiness, palpitations, all those things that sometimes can be associated with low blood sugar. That's one. And also can be associated with poor hydration. Okay, so physically. And then, of course, if that's not in where it needs to be, then mentally we can feel sluggish, we can feel dull, we can feel like we're in a fog. Not feeling any of that right now. And then emotionally, you guys recall that we just came back from a trip, some things going on in our lives right now. And so emotionally, it's been a little bit of a challenge. And so as a result of that, there's been that push, that tug, that pull for me to get off of my fasting, to get off of my diet, get off of my plan. And you guys know we talk about that heat model, which we'll go over again. And those are the triggers: habits, emotions, access, and taste, right? Emotions, those emotions, if they get strong enough, they will push through a lot of the things that we have thought about and a lot of things that we want to do. Okay? So physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then let's take a look at what my blood sugars are doing. As you know, I'm excited about the blood sugars this week, not just because they've been good, but I am also using a new device. On the screen, you'll see right now, this is the Libre 3, and it says that my blood sugars right now are 52. And you'll see down at the bottom, the graph has been, for the most part, for this day, it's been below 70, right? So the being red says that we're below 70. And you'll see early in the morning, probably around 9:30, there's a break in the graph, and that's because my sensor expired, and so I had to change it. Okay, and then if I jump over and take a look at the Dexcom right now, Dexcom says that I am 89. And if I go and click on that and just kind of scroll through, you'll see what the numbers have been throughout today. So in the 80s, low 100s. And if we go back into the early morning, I think the highest, let's see, what's the highest that it got up to? Maybe 107? 117. And then for the most part, for the rest of the day, it's been low. Okay? Yeah, low 100s. 80s, low 80s to low 100s. Okay, so that is the Dexcom. And then the one that I'm excited about is the Stello. And remember, Stello is the newest. Let's see. Let's get rid of that. I wanted to get rid of that little thing at the bottom. The newest offering from the folks over at Dexcom. It's an over-the-counter continuous monitor, and so we are just trying it out. And you see, it says that my blood sugar is 70 right now. And once again, if I click on that and hold it, I can actually scroll through so that you can see what the blood sugars have been running as we've gone through the day. And this one actually, for the most part, has been in the 70s. Let's see, just right here, it popped up above 100 over to 102. But then for the rest of the day, it's actually been below 100. Not quite down to 70. So right here we got down to 72, which is what we are right now. Okay, and then in the low 70s, 80s, 90s for the rest of the day. All right, so having said that, let's go over and let's see what my glucose monitors are saying right now. So I've got my Keto Mojo and I've got my Contour. Keto Mojo will give me both the glucose and the ketones. And then the Contour, of course, is a regular glucose monitor. So let's go ahead and let's pop over and grab a sensor, not sensor, but a test strip. Let's see, let's change this one. Okay, there we are. I got a test strip, drop that into the Contour. And then, of course, for Keto Mojo, I'm going to start with the glucose, and then we'll come back and do the ketone in a minute. While I'm doing that, if you think you know what my ketones are going to be, right now at 71, little over 71 hours, go ahead and drop that in the chat. Go ahead and put a guess in. I see some folks out there, so go ahead and put what you think is going to be. And then let's go ahead and grab a Lancet. I'm going to grab 2. And actually, let me go ahead and do this. We can talk about these here. This one, I've got 3 different types in here. So we'll talk about those. Okay. So we'll come back and talk about these in a minute. But these are just Lancets that go into a lancing device. Okay. So these are Lancets that go into lancing device. At the top of these is a little cover. And you basically turn it, that comes off, and you'll see a needle that's in there. I won't do that right now. Maybe I'll bring a lancing device home and we can try it or use it together. Same thing for this one, different brand, but they basically work the same way. You basically twist the top off, and this is the needle that's in here. It goes into the device, which is spring-loaded. When you press the activator on the device, it basically releases the Lancet, and the Lancet pokes the finger, and then you get a drop of blood. Okay, so it works just like these, except these are one use. You turn the top off, and this is just one device in itself. You hit the lever right here. When you do that, it releases the spring-loaded Lancet. And that comes out, and that gives you a poke. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to change my here so that we can show you how this works, and you can hear. So I'm going to go ahead and press that lever. Let's make sure I get a good poke, because I don't want to stick myself again. All right, so hopefully you heard that. And then let's hop over, and let's see if we did a good job. Let's see. Well, maybe not. Okay, I think we can get 1 drop from that. So my fingers are cold right now, so let's go ahead. We're going to use another one and go ahead and get that going. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so now we've got 2 pokes, and let's see if we get a good drop. No, that one is even worse than the other one. Okay, I think we can get at least 1 drop off of this. Let's go ahead and get this started. And while that's going, we're going to go ahead and keep milking. I think we can get 1 for the contour. I think these 2 are going to be good. What's going to be a challenge is, oh, well. Okay, that means I'm going to have to start over. Maybe I talked too long and those timed out. All right, let's go ahead and let's grab some more. While I'm doing that, I'm actually trying to keep these drops running, which is a feat, by the way. Right, because remember, blood coagulates very quickly. All right, let's see. Let's get this one. And we're going to go ahead and get that started. Okay, and grab this. And I'm moving quickly now because I don't want to have to poke myself again. And let's go ahead and get this one started. All right, so that says that the contour says my blood sugar is 60. And we'll see what the Keto Mojo says here. So 59. So those 2 are pretty consistent with each other. And then let's go ahead and quickly get my ketones started so that I don't have to poke myself again. Let's see if that works. All right, so that hopefully will work. And okay, yeah, it started. Okay, and of course, as I always do, I'm going to tease you guys and not show you what that number is. All right. Okay. So now you guys get to see real world how it goes sometimes with blood sugars. All right, let's say hello to a couple more people that may have popped in. So Steve, of course, we said hello to. Teresa says, "Hey, doctor and everyone." Steve saying hello to Teresa, and then of course, "Hey, Steve." All right, glad that you guys are here in this space. So let's go ahead and let's talk. So those final hours of fasting. Right now, I am in the final hours of fasting, and I'll tell you, as I mentioned earlier, this week has been a little bit more challenging than previous weeks because of so many things that have been going on, and because of my preparation, right, for getting into the fast. So we'll talk about that as we go through fasting itself. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges, some of the things that we will face, and a lot of them are really mental rather than physical, right? So the mental challenges. So fatigue, right? Mental and emotional exhaustion, because we've been at this, we've been doing it, particularly if you have other things that are going on, your energies are divided between fasting and life in general. And if we're not careful, then that can show up as a challenge within the fasting realm. And then, of course, there are cravings. So increasing desire for comfort foods, particularly depending on the mental and emotional. Because that's what we use, right? We use food as a buffer. We use food as a crutch. We use food as a coping mechanism. And so as we're going through the process, if we're getting mental and emotional exhaustion, then those cravings will increase as well. Because remember, emotions are one of those triggers in our heat model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. So you'll begin getting those cravings. And I'll tell you, I've been thinking about stuff. In the office, I've been talking to patients, and of course here in this space, talking about food. And as I talk about the food with the emotional things that have been going on, the cravings are starting to come back. Notice, it is not hunger. It is not my body saying, "Hey, you've got to eat." It is the craving that's coming back. And then, of course, boredom, restlessness without regular meals. So we're so used to being in a habit of eating. We're so used to having that routine. We're so used to being in those social spaces, those cues, those things that are around us. And so we kind of get bored with the not eating. And so if we're not careful, these things can show up in those final hours. Because after those first 8 to 10 hours, the hunger should actually go away, as your body is now starting to look at, okay, how do I begin burning fat and creating ketones? Okay, so now it switches to a mind thing. It's a mind game. So how do we deal with those, right? How do we deal with those? Number one is we want to focus on our why. This is why the why is so important. Okay? Because the why is the thing that gives us the wind beneath our sails during those times when we're having some challenges. It is critical. It is critical to know your why. Why are we doing this? What's the reason? What's the purpose? Right? Is it purely a health thing? Is it we've got family members that we want to be around for? We've got a grandson, a granddaughter, we've got a daughter, we've got a cousin, an aunt, somebody that we say, hey, we want to be healthy so we can be around for this person. Or you were getting ready to retire, or you guys are planning retirement, and you say, hey, now that I'm ready to retire, I want to be healthy so I can do that. Your doctor has said to you, hey, there's something we need to do. There's a procedure. Your surgeon has said there's a procedure, but we can't do it because your blood sugars are too high. Your weight's too high. There are so many reasons why this is important. And your why, your thing, your wind, if you will, that key place that you want to be, or that key thought, that key desire, that key goal, that's what gives you the energy during difficult times. So you want to focus on your why. During those final hours, when you're being tempted and being pushed and being pulled, reconnect with your reason for starting the fast. Reflect on the benefits you're already experienced. I'll tell you, for this week, one of the things that got me through, or is getting me through, is that I've been looking at my weight. And my weight, if you guys know, that's one of the places I've struggled over the years. And so I say, okay, I am in this fast because the fast is helping me to maintain my weight. I've also been looking at my blood sugars and say, okay, this fast is a tool. And finally, I have a tool that I personally can use, that I can access, that's giving me the power to be able to get the benefits. So what have you already experienced? The weight loss you've had, the blood sugar improvement, the A1C that's come down, coming off of medication. All of those are reasons, are benefits that you've had from the fast. And so as you reconnect with the why, and you connecting with these benefits and you're seeing those, that helps to push you forward. That's one of the reasons why it's important to document. That's why it's important to celebrate wins. That's why it's important to have SMART goals so that you can begin on the journey, on the way, be able to say, okay, yeah, I've reached that milestone. And that milestone now becomes a motivation to keep you going forward. And then reaffirm your commitment to your health goals. We are working on being healthy. We are working on reversing our diabetes. And we are committed to that. One of the things that I think we should do, and we've got it in the works, right, is I've told you guys that on the wall right here, I have a commitment statement for being a creator in this space. Okay, and I'm gonna take it off real quick. Let's see. Okay, so it says, I am committed to adding value. I am 100% committed to creating content with purpose, intention, with a focus on providing value to my audience. I'm committed to my audience. I will show up consistently and play full out. That is engaged totally. I won't give up on myself because there is an audience of people who need to hear me, hear what I have to say, and they deserve my best. I'm committed to my success. I won't compare myself to others and where they are in their journey. My journey is my own, and I'm right where I need to be right now. My success is up to me and me alone. I will not blame algorithms, platforms, or any individual for me not reaching my goals. I take these commitments seriously because I know I already have inside me everything I need to make an impact, the impact I desire. Let's do this, right? And that's my commitment statement. And that's signed, it's framed, it's on the wall. What I started to say is I think we're going to do a commitment statement for this space, right? So that we know. So when we walk into our space, when you're in the mirror, when you go to your bedroom, where are you going to put it? On the wall that says, okay, I am committed. So that when you have these times where it's a little bit more challenging, you can look at that and say, hey, I'm reaffirming my commitment. Okay, so focus on your why. And then, let's get back over here. So focusing on our why. And then what we want to do is we want to begin visualizing our success and being mindful of where we are. So visualize completing your task, completing the fast. As I was today, I went out, went and picked my son up, and we were out about doing different things. And of course, he went to basketball, and after basketball, he wanted something to eat. So we got him something to eat. As he's eating, I'm smelling, right, all the stuff in the car as we're driving. And the way I got through that moment was I began visualizing what it was going to be like when I ended my fast. What's going to be like when I complete the fast, when I get to the 72 hours. Use deep breathing exercises to reduce stress and hunger, right? Begin processing. And that hunger word there, I probably should change that to cravings, right? Because it's not hunger. It's usually not hunger. Let me say it that way. It's usually a craving, okay? Because the brain says, hey, let's go do that. And then you want to engage in meditation to stay mentally centered. Meditation is so important because it helps you pause. It helps you come away. It helps you come aside from all the hustle and bustle that's going on around you, and to be able to say, okay, yeah, what's my commitment? What's my why? Where am I right now? How am I feeling? What is it that's pushing me to get off of my fast? Okay, so visualize it, see it. Don't just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good, but talk about what is it gonna be like when you finish, when you accomplish. I'm doing something good for my body, for my health. And my brain is going to take note of that. The brain is going to celebrate. The brain is going to be that inner coach that encourages me. Visualize it and be mindful of where you are. Don't fight the feeling. Let me talk about that for a minute. Don't fight the feeling. Be honest and say, this is where I am right now. Often we try to push and say, well, yeah, I'm really not feeling that, or I'm really not desirous. Yes, you are. You want to eat that ice cream. I wanted to eat the ice cream, right? There's some stuff I wanted to eat. Okay? But be there and feel what you're feeling. Understand it. Because the more you try to avoid it, the stronger it gets in your mind. Okay? So engage in meditation and stay mentally centered. And then we want to hydrate, and we want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do in terms of our electrolytes. So stay hydrated to avoid fatigue and dizziness. We'll come back to that in a minute in a little bit more detail. Use electrolyte solutions to replenish minerals. And you guys have seen and heard me here talk about it. In fact, one of our community members is very good about putting what she used, the liquid IV, in the comments. That's one that she uses. I have not tried it yet. I have some other versions, but it is one that I want. I shouldn't say I have not tried it. I have used it before, but I have not used it during the fast. I've used it for other purposes, and it does work well. Herbal teas or bone broth, if allowed. Okay, now in this space, we've said that we're not taking in anything that has calories, so the bone broth definitely is out. The herbal tea, depending on what you have in it, depending on, you'll have to look at the package, right? So if there are no calories, no carbs, then those are usually okay. I recently switched, as you know, in terms of my hydration. I was using unsweetened tea, and then I went to using zero sugar sodas, and that was causing me some issues. And I went back to the teas, the unsweetened teas, and I've actually just changed brands. So so when we went away on our trip last week, I tried a different brand, and I really liked it. It seemed to help me remain hydrated better than the other one, so I've switched that. So we're trying that this week. Okay, all right. So hydration and electrolytes, make sure that you are doing a good job there. And then we want to incorporate some light movement to boost our energy. Gentle walking or stretching can boost energy and circulation. Yoga or light exercise, you can use that to release tension and improves your focus. Movement distracts you from hunger and enhances your mood. So if your brain is busy doing other things, it's not thinking about food, particularly as you get to these last hours. Okay? You want to make sure that you're incorporating that. This morning we went out and did some walking and did some video taping for a new segment that we're going to be working on. But that was exciting for me. And it really helped me in the process of getting into the last hours. Right, because I got up this morning and did that. That was, so we say 7%. That's 12 hours ago. Right, so we were at 60 hours at that point, and so got another 12 hours to go to get to my 72. Okay, my goodness, right? And so my brain was saying, okay, hey, we need to eat. Hey, you want to have this, or hey, this is what's going on. And how did I get through that? Hey, we went walking, and that distracted me, and it helped my mood, helped enhance my mood. And then we want to make sure that we are rested. Prioritize rest during the final hours to conserve energy. This is not the time. That's why I said light movement. This is not the time to go and help your cousin move, or go and help your mama rebuild a wall, or this is not the time for that. Those last hours, right? You want to conserve energy so that you are not exhausted. Because if you're exhausted, that's one of the reasons that people come off their diet, come off the plan. They stop fasting, right? Because remember, habits, emotions. Use relaxation techniques like deep breathing or reading. And then sleep aids in recovery and enhances the benefits of fasting. So maybe you just need to go and take a nap, right? Come home at the end of the fast and say, okay, I'm going to go sleep. Now, I didn't do that today, because I come here and I had to hang out with you guys, right? So I didn't sleep. But that would have been a great way to do that. So how do we get through those last hours of fasting? This is how you do it. People ask me all the time. I say, well, what do I do when my brain is telling me, hey, go eat, go eat? This is it right here. This is how you move through that process. Know your why. Be mindful. Visualize it. Exercise. Make sure you're well rested. Make sure you're using hydration. Okay? All right. And so now let's go ahead and let's hop over. As you know, we do our fasting review. And a lot of it, we went through some of it here a minute ago. But when we talk about fasting, there are 3 phases that I usually talk about when we talk about fasting. And let me do something here really quickly. Let's see. Hold on a second, everybody. But when we talk about fasting, there are 3 phases that we talk about. 1, how do we prepare for the fast? How do we get through the fast? And then, of course, how do we break the fast? Okay, so preparing for the fast, there are 4 things. Well, let's go over to that slide, right? So preparing for the fast, getting through the fast, and then, of course, breaking the fast. And there are 4 things that we talk about when we talk about preparing for the fast, and they are basically the foundational things that you've got to do in getting ready for a fast. Let me say it again. They're the foundational things you've got to do when you're getting ready for the fast. Number 1, you want to make sure that you're well rested. That is the foundation. That's one of those cornerstones. Because if you're not rested, then you're going to feel fatigued. You're going to be tired. You're going to have a lot of issues in the fast. And then a lot of times what happens is people say, well, the fast doesn't work. Well, the fast works. It's just that you are not rested. And that will show up and people will say, okay, it's the fast that's causing me a problem. But it's not the fast. It's the fact that we're not rested. So making sure that you're getting good rest will help you get through the fast. And if you are, if you don't do well on a fast, when you come back, the brain will say, hey, this is not working. Right? So the brain will associate what you're feeling with the fast, even though it's not a fasting issue. Yeah? So number 1, you want to be rested. Number 2, you want to make sure you're hydrated. Hydration is so important because the hydration helps to flush out some of those bad ketones, right? Remember, so ketones come in lots of different flavors. The one we talked about several weeks ago was those, we talked about beta hydroxybutyrate. We also talked about acetone. We also talked about, that's the one we talked about. The one that gives the breath, the smell to the breath, the one that causes all the other issues, right? We don't want that around. And so the hydration helps to flush that out. It helps to keep all of the enzymes that need to be functioning working, right? Because you need fluid in your body for those enzymes to work. Sometimes we don't lose as much weight as we need to, or we should, because we're not hydrated. So hydration helps to lubricate and keep everything flowing the way it should. So make sure you are rested. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're not going into or coming out of a stressful event. Because as we just mentioned, stress will push you in the direction of breaking or coming off of the fast. And so sometimes we say the fast didn't work. Well, not that the fast didn't work, it's that we were in a stressful situation. We came out of one, we were going into one, and there were so many things going on. Like for me, right? That's a perfect example. There are so many things going on that my brain now is starting to do those cravings. It's pushing me in that direction. It's not the fast issue, it's the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay? So resting, make sure that you're hydrated, make sure you're not coming out or going into a stressful event. And then on your non-fasting days, during your eating windows, making sure that you are eating a well-balanced meal, making sure that your meals are nutrient dense, that they have all iron, and you've got some starchy, non-starchy vegetables. You've got the protein, you've got the fat, the healthy fats. We'll talk about that as we talk about breaking the fast here in just a minute. But making sure that you're doing all those things on your non-fasting day so that when you get into the fast, that your body is well prepared for it. Remember, preparing for the fast just as important as getting through the fast, and then of course just as important as getting to the end of the fast. All right, so that's preparing for the fast. Now, getting through the fast, and normally I break the fast up into segments of 24 hours. So the first 24, then 48, then 72, then 96, and so forth. Today we're going to do, as we usually do here, we're going to do a little bit more granularly, and we're going to talk about what happens during the first 6 hours, right? 0 to 6 hours. And this is really, it's part of fasting, but it's actually the postprandial phase. This is the time right after you just finish eating. The body is processing the last meal, the last bunch of things that you just ate. The glucose levels are high, insulin levels are high because the body is extracting the food, extracting the nutrients from the food that you just ate. And of course, because there are carbs in it usually, the insulin levels are high. Your energy levels are high because there's this immediate source of energy or food that the body uses. And let's talk a little bit about glucose for a minute, right? So a lot of the other things that we use in terms of energy, for instance, proteins and fats, they have to be processed and then broken down and then converted to glucose. But when you eat some carbs, guess what? Immediately, right then, at that moment, that carb begins to get absorbed. And so I think about it sometimes like, those old movies and, they're drag racing. I don't know why I think about those movies, but they're drag racing. And when they're drag racing, the one guy maybe he's losing or they're neck and neck and he reaches over and he hits that switch and then the car goes, okay? I often think about carbs and sugar in that way. Because once that sugar, those carbs get into you, oh yeah, boom, you're getting that energy like right now, okay? And that's why it can be so addictive, because you get that energy right away. But the other thing that happens is because it comes right away, right? Think about that car, right, that started boosting or started zooming forward, that runs out pretty quickly. And so now we get those dips, okay? So as we're talking about the first postprandial phase, 0 to 6 hours, that's what's happening. The body is absorbing it. You got full of energy. The blood sugars are high. The insulin is high, right? That's that time right after. That's the digestive process, and energy levels are high. And then if we go to 6 to 12 hours, this is the early fasting stage. So we've absorbed a lot of the energy, we've absorbed those carbs, the body is processing, and the insulin levels begin to decrease because now the sugar is starting to go down as well. As the body's storing it in the liver, as the body's using it for energy, as the insulin has taken it, pushed it into cells, when the liver gets full, then now it gets packaged and it gets sent out to fat cells, right? So all that process is going on in the postprandial and in this phase. And as those blood sugars begin to come down, the insulin levels begin to drop, and this is signaling the liver that it's time to start releasing glucose, right? So we've put it away, and now as the blood sugars are dropping, the body is saying, okay, now I need some energy, right? And so the liver is now saying, okay, now let me get into glycogenolysis. That's breaking down glycogen into glucose. So we've stored it, and now we're taking some of it back out, right? This is an active process. and this is to help maintain blood sugar levels. Energy levels begin to fluctuate as we are now, the blood sugars are gone down, we've stored it, and now we're having to go back to the liver and take some out and convert it from glycogen into sugar. Right? So anytime you have to convert something into sugar, that is where we can have some of those dips. And people sometimes will feel this as that dip in energy. Okay, as we're going through this process, that postprandial phase, that first 12 hours, and people will begin to get those cravings. The brain will say, hey, let's go eat. The stomach will start to growl. People say, hey, I'm hungry. No, all that means is your stomach is empty. Okay? And if we're not rested, we will feel this as a drop in energy, and that will push us, or can push us, off of our meal plan. And then 12 to 18 hours transitioning to using fat. Now we're starting to see that the glycogen is starting to go away, and the body's having to switch now from burning glycogen, glucose, and say, hey, I need to start looking at some fats. Right, so glucose levels continue to go down, and we have increased fatty acids released from fat cells. The liver starts gluconeogenesis, that is, producing glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. And in this process, the ketones are still low because we still have energy that we're converting, or glucose, glycogen that is, that we're converting to glucose. Okay, and people may feel continued dip in energy, some irritability, hunger, right? Those signals may begin coming out because we're so used to having something in our stomach every 4 to 6 hours. Actually, for a lot of us, every 2 to 4 hours. But now we've gone 12 to 18 hours without eating, and the brain is starting to say, hey, let's put something else in the stomach. And then if we look at 18 to 24 hours, this is when ketosis begins in earnest. Okay, so glycogen stores are nearing depletion. So the liver is saying, hey, I don't have a lot in here. Let's begin to rev up this process of converting fat into ketones. And this is the increase in ketones as the liver metabolizes fat into ketones. Autophagy starts, right? That's that cellular cleanup process. That's the process of going out and collecting dead, broken, unused cells. This is an amazing process. I love it. We don't talk enough about the process that's going on. This is where we see those benefits with immunity improvement, with inflammation reduction. We start to see benefits in terms of cancer, right? Cancer benefits, those neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. We begin to see improvement in neuropathy. So this is that process. That autophagy is what is causing that. The autophagy is the body's recycling process, and it goes out, collects those cells, and it recreates. It's kind of like when you put recycling out. Right, you put those bottles and those newspapers and the boxes and the cans and the plastic bins, they go into recycling and they go off somewhere and they show up again as a new product. In fact, I just bought some tennis shoes, and it says that it's 20 to 40%, I think it was, from recycled material. Right, loved it. So I'm exercising and I'm helping the planet. But the body does that through the process of autophagy. And so autophagy starts to ramp up, clearing damaged cells and regenerating newer, healthier cells. The initial stages of mental clarity, when we did a show about mental clarity and focus, begins as the brain now starts to get ketones along with glucose for energy. And so ketones are a stabler, more consistent energy source. And then once we get from the 24-hour period and we move into the 24-hour period, so now we've got ketosis in earnest. We've got fat adaptation. So significant increase in ketones, right? Decrease of reliance on gluconeogenesis for energy. Fat oxidation increases. More fatty acids are converted to ketones. Energy levels begin to stabilize. This is now the switching from like that hybrid car. We're no longer depending on gas. We've switched over to working in that battery. And so the body energy levels stabilize as the body becomes more efficient at using ketones for energy. Hunger often begins to decrease. Right? So now that we've got energy from somewhere else, the hunger is okay, yeah, we're not hungry anymore. Okay? All right, so that's what goes on in the 24 hours. So as we now are moving, so we've done a good job of getting into the fast. We've moved through the fast, and now the question is, how do we break the fast? So breaking the fast. And to break the fast, just as it's important to get into the fast, get through the fast, important to break the fast as well, you want to monitor blood sugars. And this is where that's why I'm so excited about the Stello. Right? And once again, let me say it again to you all, there is no connection with me and the folks at Dexcom. I just think that everyone who's working on metabolic health should be monitoring their blood sugars, because we get to see what's going on in terms of what activities do to our bodies, what food does to our body, what sleep does, what stress does. We get to see that in real time. Okay, so monitor blood sugars. Next, prioritize portions. So important, because when we break our fast, if we're not careful, we can undo so much of what we did during the fast. Right? Because we think because we have been fasting, we can go now and we can just begin eating. And the answer is not really. Okay? You can't just eat whatever you want. Okay? So we want to make sure that we are doing a good job there. And I think something happened to my screen, so I'm going to try to fix that here. Let's see. There we go. Oh, that's all right. We'll leave it the way it was. Okay. All right. Portion control. The next is eating slowly. When you eat slowly, you don't eat as much. But sometimes we're so ravenous. We're like, we'll just eat it, just shovel it down, and we end up overeating. Once again, that goes back with portion control. And then avoid sugary processed foods. The higher the sugar, the higher the processing, the more carbs get absorbed, the higher the blood sugar goes. When blood sugar goes up high, we've got to go get some ketones. We got to get some insulin. Insulin stimulates the appetite, so now we're ravenous. Insulin causes weight gain, so now we begin putting on weight that we took off during the fast. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are not undoing the things that we did during the fast. And then make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're maintaining hydration. So water, very good. Coconut water, unsweetened, right? Be careful with those. And then herbal teas. Make sure you're doing a good job of hydration. And I think I do see Jennifer who came in, and we talked about you, Jennifer, a little while ago, your IV hydration. Thank you for sharing that with us. And then proteins. Make sure that you are doing a good job of getting proteins in, right? So chicken or turkey breast. You can use eggs, tofu, tempeh. The protein will help to keep you satiated. Will keep you from being hungry, right? Help you keep you satisfied longer. If you're doing good protein, we'll talk about fats here in just a minute, but those are the things that we want to do to make sure that we are doing a good job. For those of you who may be vegetarian, then of course, tofu or tempeh is good, and I love tofu. We do a lot of tofu here in my we do a lot of tofu here at my house, right? Because we love. You can do a lot of things with it. If you guys have not already done so, we did a show a while back on tofu and preparing tofu. So go back and watch that episode. But yeah, so making sure that you can use eggs, and you want to do soft eggs, right? So don't make it hard and all the stuff in it. Because as you're getting off the fast, the body is going to have to respond to whatever you're putting in. Okay, so making sure that you're doing a good job of getting some proteins in, and then healthy fats, right? So proteins and healthy fats. So healthy fats, just like proteins, the fats will also help to keep you satisfied. They will decrease the absorption of carbohydrates and keep those blood sugars stable. Avocados, nuts, yeah. And you know, do I have it? I think I do have it. I bought some nuts today. I've got to tell on myself, right? Bought some nuts. Maybe I'll have my son bring in, and so you can see what I bought. And then seeds, right? So those are good places to get healthy fats from. And then broths. Broths will also help you maintain hydration. Vegetable broth for those of you who may be vegetarian or vegan. And then, of course, bone broth. You can use chicken broth. You know, anything there that doesn't have a lot of carbs. And that's the key, right? To make sure that you're not putting in a lot of carbs. Because once you break the fast, the thing that you break the fast with tends to be the thing that you eat for the next 24 to 36 hours. Let me say that. Okay, we need to do a show on that. But yeah, the thing that you break the fast with tends to be the thing that you're going to be eating and using for the next 24 to 36 hours if you're not careful. And then, of course, some considerations, right? When you're breaking the fast, you want to make sure that you're choosing foods that help maintain stable blood sugars while giving you the nutrients that you need and that are easy on the digestive system. You want to focus on low glycemic index foods, those foods that won't spike the blood sugars too high too quickly, lean protein, healthy fats, and of course make sure that you are keeping an eye on hydration. So as I said, getting into the fast is important, going through the fast is important, and breaking the fast is important. All of those phases are as important as all the others, right? Because they set you up for success during the fast. Awesome. All right, and let's see what we got here. Let's go back to some of these comments. Steve said, I have reached most of my goals with fasting, weight, A1C, eliminating medication, maintaining ketosis. I have my blood work scheduled for next Thursday. Yes, Steve. I love that. I love that. That's what we're talking about. That's how we do it, okay? And fasting is an amazing tool, right? And Steve, hope you're sharing that with other people in your community. Vivian Barnes said, thanks. Good info. Hey, Vivian, thanks for coming through. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here. Jennifer says, howdy all, in from the garden. Yay, Jennifer. You know, you're gonna have to send us some pictures, Jennifer, so I can put it up so people can see what you got out there. You keep telling us about all this good stuff that you got out there in your garden. Steve is saying hello, Jennifer, and then Jennifer says just made a canned bone broth from our pasture-raised chicken. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. See, like I said, that's what I just said, Jennifer. You keep telling us all this stuff that you got out there. We want to taste it. We want to at least let's see it. Send us some pictures so we can look at those. Awesome. All right, so let's hop back over and let's take a look at my. Let's see, what are we looking at? Oh, yeah, let's take a look at my report. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, let's get over there. Yeah, let's take a look at. Let's do this one. Or actually, let's do this one. There we go. We haven't done this one in a while. And you'll see there on the screen, my average blood sugar over the last 14 days is 144. My glucose management indicator for the last 14 days will be 6.7. And so that is if I were to get an A1C, based on the last 14 days, it would be 6.7. If I go ahead and change this to 90 days, which is what the A1C is going to be based on, my average is probably going to be like 125. Okay, 130. Okay, 130 with a glucose management indicator of 6.4. I'm in target 87% of the time, which is a range of 70 to 180. Okay, and then if I hop over and actually take a look at the graphs themselves for the last 72 hours. Let's back up. Let's see. This is 48. This is 24. Okay, so right in here. let's see. So 24, 48. So no, I have to go back one. So 24, 48, 72. Okay, there we go. I had to get that straight. All right, so we started fasting over here. And blood sugar was about 112. You'll see that there. So 24 hours later, and you guys remember I had to change my sensor, and I did that here on the show where we looked at where we changed my Dexcom, put on a new Dexcom, and added the Stello. And so now from here on, you'll see two graphs. One is the Dexcom and one is the Stello. So right here, between 110 and 119 at 24 hours. And then at 48 hours, I think the bottom one is the Stello, and the top one is the G7. Okay, and you'll see they're about what 20, not even 20, 15, yeah, about 14 points away from each other. And then of course today, not quite because it doesn't pick up the last hour or so, but we were the Stello was showing me 70s. And the Dexcom G7 was showing me that we were in the 90s. Okay. All right, so I love that. And then what do you think at 72 hours, right? And we were actually 71 hours at the time. What do you think my blood sugars or my ketones are? So let's go back and let's grab my Keto Mojo. And actually, let's do this scene. It's my Keto Mojo meter. And let's go ahead and pull up my Keto Mojo app. Let's get over there. Take a guess. I think yesterday it was my blood sugar was 80 and my ketones were 0.8. Actually, let me pull that up so we can actually see that together. Yeah. So my blood sugar was 80 at the time. My ketones were 0.8. So that was at 48 hours or 46 hours, I think it was what it was. So what do you think my blood sugars will be, or my ketones will be today? And so we were at 71 hours when I did that. So let's go ahead and turn this on. And let's go ahead and sync this guy. So we'll see what that shows up here in just a minute. Okay. And if you're not done so, go ahead and drop it in the chat. What do you think it's gonna be? What do you think it's gonna be? Steve says he thinks it's gonna be 1.0. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see. And the drum roll, please. Let me see. Do I have drums over here? Let me see. No. Okay, that's not a drum roll. Okay, no. Nope. I gotta get some drum. I gotta get a drum roll. But drum roll and. All right, so my blood sugar 59 is what the Keto Mojo said it was. My blood sugar was, and then ketones of 2.2. So 2.2 here at 72 hours or 71 at the time when we did it. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited. So when we talk about ketones, remember when we discuss ketones, ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And if we are talking about weight loss, we're talking about remaining in ketosis, we want ketones to be above 0.5, sorry, above 0.5. And on the screen now, you'll see here is my Keto Mojo app. The tan line is blood sugar, and the turquoise line, those are ketones. So as blood sugars have gone down, when blood sugars go down, insulin levels go down. When insulin goes down, ketones come out. Because remember, ketones and insulin cannot be in the same space at the same time. So as my blood sugar has gone down, my insulin has had to go down, and then my ketones came up. If I go back to last week, you'll see there the tan line, as I started eating, my blood sugar went up. When the blood sugar goes up, of course, insulin comes out, and when insulin comes out, then the ketones have to go down, okay? And so just excited right now. So I'm 2.2 is what my ketones are, and so my body right now is really, well, not really, my body is burning fat converting it to ketones, and that's what I'm running on right now, which excites me because that means that, yeah, we're getting some of this stuff going away, right? Some of this is going away. All right. So, in our quest for reversing our diabetes, I want to let you know of the unlimited potential that you have at your fingertips. Within you, you have the potential. You have the ability to chart your metabolic destiny. And so we want to unleash, we want to tap into the unlimited potential that you have. And we do that by the triple E formula for success that we do here on the show. That is, we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts. All of that is with the intention of shifting your mind, shifting your mindset, helping you to know that you have a growth mindset rather than a stagnant mindset, saying that I can be better than I am. I'm not stuck with I'm not stuck with what I have, and I'm not stuck with where I am right now. That's the mindset shift. We educate, we empower with the tools that we talk about, the tools that we use, all the challenges that we do on a monthly basis, the tools that we learn here on the show, the HEAT model, emotional intelligence, how to create a meal, how to evaluate your medication. All those are tools that you can use to put into practice the things that we learn and the concepts that we're doing as we are educating. And then we encourage with this community that's growing, this community that you are a part of, that lets us know, hey, we are not alone. We can be successful, just like Steve is sharing, just like Jennifer is sharing about cooking, and Teresa in the past, and all of those things, all those people that are out there. Yeah, that's the community. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. So we educate, we empower, we encourage. That's the HEAT. That's the triple E formula for success. Remember, the things that will push us off of our meal plan, push us off of our diet, push us off of our fasting, push us off of our desire and our commitment to be metabolically healthy, come through the HEAT model. The things that force us or push us to eat. We eat not because we're hungry, but we eat because of habits, we eat because of emotions, we eat because of access, and we eat because of taste. Those patterns that we've created in our lives, the cues, the social cues that we see, right? When people are going to lunch, hey, we feel like we got to eat, not because we're hungry, but because it's lunchtime. Or we go to the movies. I went to the movies. We went we went to Florida. We went to the beach, and we stopped at the Pensacola Naval Base there, and we went to the museum, and they had a movie, and so we're going up to see the movie, and we stopped at the concession stand, and I got some stuff to eat, not because I was hungry, but guess what? That's what we do. Okay, we eat because of emotions. We're happy, we're sad, we're tired, we're bored, we're frustrated, we're depressed, we're anxious. All of those things will push us through our decisions. So we want to manage. We want to be able to manage those emotions on this side of that roller coaster before they get too high. We eat because of access, because things just are around. So we got to make sure that we're cleaning up our environment, right? Don't have things around that you know that are triggers for you. And that we eat because of taste, that perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat that says, I can't just have one. I got to have more, right? That's what the manufacturers want. And we are chasing what the food is doing, not necessarily the food itself. We're chasing the feeling that it makes us have. We're chasing the calm that it brings over us. We're chasing the memory that it creates of that time that we went to that place and we ate that thing and we felt that way, right? Habits, emotions, access, and taste. And then when you come, here's our call to action. Make sure that you are joining the challenges. Every month we have something that you can get involved with. Don't just let the shows be things that you listen to that go on the shelf. Implement them. And the challenges are a way to do that. Also, share your story. Let us know what's going on. If you're having successes, share that with us so that we know that if you can do it, we can do it. If you're having challenges, humps or bumps, share that as well, because we now get to rally around you and let you know that you're not by yourself, that you have a community. And we know that we have a community. And then invite someone to this space. Let them know that they have the potential to be metabolically healthy. You can be a voice for change. There are over 1 billion people on the planet that are currently diabetic or pre-diabetic. you can be a place that's, or someone that says, hey, we don't have to go out like that. We can make a difference, right? So share the link with them. Let them know, hey, let's watch this together. Let's go do this together. Let's go watch this show. Because our pillars for reversing diabetes, reducing insulin, decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. And that works better. That works. And we get better results in community. In community. And as I always say, I'm happy to be here in community with you because you are part of my group. You are part of my accountability. You are part of you guys. You know, I know I've got to come on and talk with you. So I'm making sure that I'm doing the things I need to do so that we can say, hey, let's do this together. Let's be successful. That's why I share my stuff with you. Right? So that we can say, okay, let's work through this together. Always. All right. So I didn't talk about what I'm doing to break my fast because I'm planning to actually not break the fast right now. I'm actually going to extend it a little while for some reasons, right? So over the course of my trips, we put on some weight, and so we got to take some of that off. And we're almost there. We got about 3 pounds that we've got to work on. 2.5 pounds. Let me say that. I'm not going to even go 3. But I'm not going to break the fast right now. We're going to go probably another 12 hours or so. And we may or may not record that, but we'll let you know as we get into our next week. Make sure that you join us for This Week in Review, which will air on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. And if you noticed last week, when we weren't here, we did a new feature that we're adding called Videos from the Vault. Videos from the Vault. This is just a re-airing of some of the older videos that we've done here on the channel. That will show up on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Right? So that's going to be a recast of the show. Saturday night, 9 o'clock. On Sunday morning, This Week in Review will be a recap of the shows that we did for this week. And then, of course, on Monday at 7 o'clock, will be our Dwain Woode MD Live, where we continue our process of New Year, New You. Just so excited that you are all here. As I always say, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here in the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, New You. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday, Saturday night for Videos from the Vault, Sunday morning for This Week in Review, and then on Monday at 7 p.m. Central for Dwain Woode MD Live. Bye-bye.